Hey, everybody, you are watching and listening to the We Are Rizin podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin, and I'm joined by a very special guest again today. Returning to the show, we got Naoki Inoue, who has advanced in the Bantamweight Grand Prix and will next be taking on Kintaro. You can watch that fight along with the other semifinalists, not semifinals, but the advanced final matches of the tournament, September 19th, 18th for us in the United States. Presumably on live now. And Inoue-san, we appreciate you talking to us again. Thank you very much for your time. Yoshiko onegaishimasu. First off, we gotta talk about your win over Shintaro. Not Shintaro. Shintaro Ishiwatari. Tell us about, you got your first knockout win in your career. How did you feel the way that you won it and the amount of time that you won that fight? It was first round, less than 1 minute or 2 minutes into the fight, I believe it was.
まずはじめに前回の石渡戦の話を聞きたいんですけども、キャリア初めての KO 勝ちということで、しかもそれが2分以内っていう、しかも強い相手で、それが成し遂げられたんですけども、今振り返ってみると、あの試合のことはどう思いますか？
いい感じに、自分のできることをやって、KO もそこで取れたかなっていう感じですかね。
Well, when I look back right now, I think, I guess it was a good fight. I was able to execute what I wanted to do, and I finished the guy. So I would have to say it was good.
How are you feeling after the fight? I know it's, are you, how confident are you in this tournament going forward? You got Kintaro next. Tell us how you're feeling so far, confidence level in this tournament.
どうですかね、その石渡戦が終わった後っていう周りの反響がどうだかっていうのと、それによって自信がついて、これから次の金太郎戦とか、次のこれからのグランプリに向けて、さらに自信がついたとか、そういったことあります？
はい、順調に1回戦勝ち進んで、石渡さんだから、すごい、どうなんですかね。普通に、反響は良かったとは思うんですけど、まだ3回まだあるんで、しっかり1試合ずつしっかり勝っていきたいと思います。
Well, after I defeated Ishiwatari, I guess because of it's Ishiwatari, I think the people around me had a very positive reaction towards that fight, I guess. So, not, but I still have to win 3 more fights. So I have to approach this one by one.
How do you feel being matched up against Kintaro? Was that the fight that you wanted Kai as a Kura, but how do you feel being matched against Kintaro?
どうですかね、できれば2回戦、朝倉選手とやりたいとか言ってたのが、ライジン側が金太郎選手と決めたということなんですけども、この金太郎選手だって聞いたときどう思いました？で、今、どう思います？
最初は、朝倉海選手とか荻久保選手とやりたいなと思ってたんですけど、何人か当たったことのある選手とかもいるんで、やっぱライジン側が決めてくれた方が良かったのかなっていうふうにも思いますし、全然金太郎選手でも問題ないんで、しっかり本当に頑張っていきたいと思います。
Well, when I first heard I have to fight Kintaro, I was like, I wanted to fight Kai or Gikubo. But when I really look back right now, the other guys has fought before. So I think instead of doing the drawing, I think Rizin choosing the opponent maybe was the right call. But when I look at this Grand Prix, I'm okay with fighting anybody. I'm confident to beat anyone. So I just take it one by one.
I don't know if you got a chance to see Kintaro's fight. Did you, if you did happen to see it, what did you think of the way of how he performed that fight?
前回の金太郎選手の試合を見たと思うんですけども、彼の試合を見てどう思いました？彼のパフォーマンスに関しては。
すごい力強くて、タフな選手で、すごい打ち合いが好きな選手なんだなっていうふうに思いました。
Well, he looked tough, physically tough, and so my impression was that this is a guy who probably likes to trade strikings.
And So I want to also ask about your little I guess was it picture book or I don't know what to call it after your fights the little book that you had the ring girl read. How did that idea how did you think of that idea to do something like that?
前回の試合の後、フリップ芸をやって喋らないでラウンドガールに喋らせたんですけども、あれってどういった経緯で誰のアイデアでああいうふうになったんですかって。
あれは、その長末さんとの練習で、ちょうど那須川天心選手もいたんですけど、その2人が、なんかやったらいいんじゃないのみたいな感じで言われて、で、まあ、それは2ヶ月ぐらい前に多分言われたんですけど、まあ直前になって水垣さんにそのルールブックを書いてもらって、本当に直前やるって決めたのは直前ですかね。
Well, actually, about 2 months prior to the fight against Ishiwatari, when I was training with my S&A coach, Mr. Nick Nagasue, Tenshin Nasukawa was there as well because he's also Nagasue-san's client. So we were talking about how I was not good about talking on the public and blah blah blah. Then those two suggested, why don't you just use the paper, the flips, and just write something you want to say instead of saying it. So 2 months has passed. I never thought about it, but on the day of the fight, I was talking to one of my coaches, Mizugaki, and just suddenly decided to do it. So Mizugaki just started to write the words on the paper and everything else. So this was just actually decided to do in the very last minute.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Speaking of talking, during the if I remember the translation correctly, when you're asked about Kintaro, you said that you didn't know who he was. Can you just expand upon what did you mean by you didn't know who he was? Were you just not familiar with him as a fighter, or did you legitimately not know who he was? Have you had any interactions with him previous? But I'm just curious to know as well.
日部の日本のインタビューを読んだところだと、キントロ選手のことあんまり知らなかったとか、全然興味がなかったとか、いろいろなことを書いてあるんですけども、実際に本当に知らなかったのか、それともただ興味がなかったのか、または例えば練習したことあるのかとか、本当はどうなんですかね、キンタロ選手に関しての印象というか、自分にしてはにとってはどれぐらいの認知度だったの？
まあ、名前は知ってるぐらいで、ちょっと試合も、なんかハイライトみたいな感じで、ちょっと見たぐらいだったんですけど。
練習したことなかったっけ？
はい。練習、なんか一回、多分、ブローズで練習していたときに、はい、一回あったと思いますね。
その時一緒に練習しなかったの？
一緒にちょっと組んだぐらい。
グラップリング？
はい。だから、あんまり打撃とかはやってない感じですね。
Well, I knew the Kintaro, the name, and I think I've seen some of his fights, but that's about it. I was never really I didn't really recognize who he was and stuff like that. But I did actually see him in person at Mr. Nagakura's gym called Blows in Osaka, and I did grapple a little bit with him. I knew him who he was, but that's about it.
So when you said that, I don't know if you endeared yourself to the Kanzai fans who are the big Kintaro fans, because he's got a big fan following on social media and on YouTube. Did you happen to get any sort of negative feedback when you said that? I'm curious to know if anything like that happened to you.
その発言をインタビューでしたときに、この金太郎選手ってのはどっちかというと大阪ですごいなんか熱狂的なファンが多いんですけども、そういったファンからすげえなんかアタックされたとか、なんか変なネガティブなことが来たとか、そういうのあります？
いや、DM とかでは全然そういうのはなかったですね。
ツイッターとかは？
ツイッターも多分ないというか、コメントもそんなに見てないんでわかんないんですけど。
Well, nobody really sent me any direct mail to complain about that for sure. And in terms of my Twitter posts and those Twitter posts about the articles, I actually don't really read their comments so much, so I don't know.
That's interesting. Do you never read comments on social media, or do you just read? Do you sometimes just read the positive ones? Do you have somebody send you just? Oh yeah, just tell us what your social media, I guess, attitude is when it comes
あの、
to fan responses.
今ちょっとコメントあまり読まないって言ったんだけども、これちょっと SNS に関して質問なんですけども、ナウ君はどうなの？ SNS っていうのはこう一生懸命いっぱい見てコメントも全部読むとかそういうタイプではなく、例えば好きなものだけ読むとか、時間があった時だけ読むとか、どういう感じでアプローチしてるの？自分にとって SNS っていうのは。
SNS、いや、特に、まあ、なんか宣伝とか、そういう感じで使ってる感じですかね。まあ、コメントもたまに読んでって、まあ、ファンからの一言一言、まあ、嬉しいな、みたいな感じで見てはいますけど。
ちなみにネガティブなコメントは読まないの？
はい。
ネガティブなコメントは。
ネガティブな、でも、まあ、そういうのもあります。
それも全部読んでんの？それとも時々読まないようにしてんの？
それも読んでます。
じゃあ結構読んでんだ、全部。
全部は多分読み切れてないと思うんですけど、やっぱコメントとか多いとちょっと、はい、見切れてないところもありますね。
Well, my basic attitude towards social network is it's a PR tool. So I use that as to advertise what I do or PR on my sponsors and stuff like that. But in terms of comments, yeah, sure, I do read it, because some of the comments are very, very motivating. So it's just really, it's a plus side for me. And including negative comments, sometimes I do read it, but sometimes just comments, just too many comments. So I just don't have a time to go through everything. So it's just that I don't really value so much that I don't feel responsible to read every single one of them.
Gotcha. I understand. I totally understand that. So with a fighter like Kintaro, are you preparing any differently? Yeah, he's stylistically, like he is mainly a striker. That's what he does. Are you doing anything that's different in your training to prepare for somebody like him who has knocked out a lot of people? Is it training the same? Yeah, just talk about how you're preparing for this fight against Kintaro.
どうですかね、金太郎選手に対して何か特別に練習方法を変えるとか、どういったアプローチとか何かありますかね。イメージとしては、彼はそのストライカーっていうイメージだと思うっていうんだけども、どうなんですかね。意外と僕はちょっといろんなオールラウンド的なところがあるかなと思うんだけ
ど。でも、どっちかって言ったらストライカーかなっていうふうには思うんですけど、全然しっかり金太郎選手の対策もしてますし、全然大丈夫だと思います。
Well, if I have to identify or categorize his style, sure, he is more of a striker, but I've actually already studied his strategy and his game plans and what he's all about. So I'm prepared for anything he does. So I'm totally fine.
Gotcha. I'm also curious to know. So you defeated Shintaro Ishiwatari. He retired right after that fight. At the press conference, said he's done fighting. I'm curious to know, what are your overall thoughts on Ishiwatari as a fighter, since you are presumably the last person he will ever face in a MMA ring?
石渡選手は直樹君との試合の後に引退を表明して引退したんだけども、つまり彼の最後の相手が直樹君ということになったんだけども、そういったベテラン選手が辞めていったってこの彼の引退に関してはどう思いますか？
活躍した選手としてすごい尊敬してますし、しっかりRizinでも試合で盛り上げてくれて本当にはい、ありがとうございますという気持ちですね。感謝の気持ちを伝えたいですし、はい。
Well, I mean, Ishiwatari is a veteran, obviously, and he has fought many, top opponents. So I'm very honored to be able to be his last opponent, and I have to thank him for providing so much exciting fights in Rizin and many other promotions. So I would like to tell him thank you.
Okay. I'm curious to know as well. So I know that you're gunning for Kai. And what do you think about the fight against him versus Hiro Yamaniya? Do you think that Kai will win that, or do you think that Hiro can possibly upset Kai?
朝倉選手とやりたい 言ってたこの朝倉選手は山庭選手でいるんですけども、その試合どうなると思いますか？なんかアップセットが起きて意外と山庭が勝っちゃうとか、そのようなことを思います？
どうなんですかね。ちょっと、山庭選手、打撃もできますし、寝技ももちろん、盆栽なんで強いと思うんで、どうなるか本当楽しみだなっていう感じです。
Well, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that fight because Yamaniha can strike and also he can fight on the ground. And obviously, he's from bonsai jiu-jitsu, so his grappling got to be good. So I'm actually really looking forward to see that fight.
What about it? What about the other fights that are going to be happening in the tournament? If I remember, Takizawa, I think Takizawa is taking on Motoya and Okubo's taking on Otsuka. Do you have any predictions for the other two fights?
滝沢選手対、元谷選手、それから大久保選手対大塚選手って、この2試合は結果どのようになると予想してます？
結果ですか。
予想は。
元谷選手、滝沢選手と元谷選手は、元谷選手が勝つんじゃないかなっていうふうに思います。大久保選手と大塚選手は、ちょっと拳の状態がちょっとわかんないんで、どうですかね。ちょっとわかんないですけど、大久保選手が普通に勝ってくれるんじゃないかなっていうふうに思います。
Well, in terms of Takizawa versus Motoya, I just think Motoya should be able to win this one. And in terms of Ogiko versus Otsuka, I'm not really sure his Ogiko's fist. We know that his fist was, he broke his fist from the last fight. So not sure how much he can recover from this. And if he can't recover, he can't train so much. So, but if everything goes well, I'm hoping the Ogiko to win this.
I got to ask also, I'm curious to know if you happened to see the Imanari Takizawa fight. And if you did, what did you think about that kind of, I'll say a unique fight, if you happen to have watched it?
滝沢選手対今成選手の試合ってあれ見てどう思いました？
緊張感があって、地味にっていうか、普通に決めそうな場面もあったんで、盛り上がる試合になったんじゃないかなっていうふうには思います。
Well, I think the sense of high tension was there, right? And I think of some experts who enjoy that type of fights, it was thrilling and it was to the point. Sometimes maybe it was close to submitting him and stuff like that. So I guess it was exciting in that sense.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm curious to know as well. Are you still playing Monster Hunter for the Switch? If you have you advanced any farther with your character, your avatar?
どうなんですか？そのマッチョなんとかってのはやってんの？スイッチで。で、やってるんだったら、なんか進歩したの？そのアバターは。ゲーム、スイッチの。
ゲームですか？この前言ってたやつですか？
なんとかハンター。
いや、ちょっと最近はやってなくて。
最近何やってんの？
最近は、特になんか、普通に動画とか見てたりしてます。
Well, actually, I haven't been playing games so often as you used to be. I actually now watch some videos on my iPhones and stuff like that.
The videos, are you talking about movies? You're talking about TV shows, TV dramas, YouTube videos?
動画ではどんなの見てんのって。
いや、YouTube とか。
YouTube のどんな動画？
なんか大食いみたいな。
Yeah, I do watch YouTube, but I watch like a eating contest or like that type of stuff. So
Eating okay, is that something you would ever want to do? Would you ever try if you ever come back to New York, would you ever try to go into the Coney Island hot dog eating contest? Is that something you'd ever would you like to be the second Japanese person to possibly win that tournament?
どうかでニューヨークに戻ってきたらコーニーアイランドでやる有名なホットドッグ早食い選手権あるじゃん、大食い選手権。
はい。
小林っていう有名な日本人が優勝してんだけども、2人目の日本人優勝者になりませんかって。
でも、コニーアイランド行ったことあるんですよね。ホットドッグ食べ、行ったんですけど、すごい、でも行列で、すごいなって思いましたけどね。
You know, not really, but I actually been to Coney Island before, and I actually did eat the Nathan's hot dog, and I remember it was just a long lines to get that hot dog.
Well, if you ever come back to New York, they're still doing if you get vaccinated or are vaccinated, bring your card because they'll give you a free hot dog. I think they're still doing that deal.
Oh, really? I like a vaccination card?
Yep.
Oh.
I went July, and yeah, as far as I know, they're still doing it.
今でもコーニーランドに行って、ワクチン接種しましたよっていう証明書を見せれば、ネイセンズでタダでホットドッグ1個くれるらしいですよ。ぜひ。
But so anyways, before you go, I just want to give you an opportunity. I know you already said some stuff about Kintaro, but I want to give you an opportunity to say any more, if you have any more comments or a statement you want to say about him, your fight, as well as plugging your social media and sponsors, all that good stuff. The floor is yours.
どうですかね、なんか、ファンとかに最後メッセージかなんかありますか、スポンサーとか。
今来てるマリオン・パレルさんとか。はい、あと、前回も紹介したんですけど、今ジムに通っているソニックスクワットと水垣さんのところで練習しているペダリストと、あと、車の会社のミラコラーレさんと、あと地元のスポンサーの方がついてくれて、ノンホイファイターズというところと、あと東京の池袋の成増にある上原さんをぜひ知っていただけたらなと思います。
Well, I'd like to mention my sponsors, I guess, including the first is the t-shirts I'm wearing, which is the Marion Apparel. And also, please don't forget about my gym that I train at, which is Sonic Squat. And also, I train with Mr. Mizugaki, who is opening a new gym called Velva. And also, I have a local sponsors, who is a Non-Hoi Fighters, which is a company that promotes the fighters from my hometown area. And also the ramen shop in Narimasu called Uehara, which is another sponsor of mine. And あと俺もう一個忘れたね、誰だろう。No Home前誰たちだっけ？ビラコーデ。Okay. And also another car company that who specializes in maintenance for like supercars, and it's called Miracore. And more coming.
Gotcha. Do you have any final comments for Kintaro?
どうですか？じゃあ最後にキンタロ選手にとかキンタロ選手の試合に関して一言は。
一言ですか。いや、じゃあ、うちはおうって。
You can write something if you want to write something and just show it. If you want to just write it quickly, you can just do that right now.
けどその打ち合えって言われた話してあげなよ、じゃあ、フェイスオフの時に。
はい。フェイスオフ、会見のフェイスオフの時に、打ち合おうやみたいな感じで言われたんですけど、なんか何も出てこなくて、押すって言ったんですけど、なんかそれがまあ、お楽しみということで、よろしくお願いします。
Well, I don't know if you know this, but right after the press conference, when I had to do a face talk with Kintaro, you know what Kintaro said? He came to me to my face and he says, "You better go and strike with me." And I didn't know what to say because I'm not really good at quick reactions. So all I said was yes. So I think that's what's gonna happen.
Gotcha. Okay, and yeah, you could see Naoki Inoue and Kintaro presumably strike Rizin 30 Saitama Super Arena September 19th, September 18th for us in the United States, presumably on Live Now with English commentary. And Inoue-san, thank you very much for your time. We're really looking forward to this fight. It's a very unique fight. I definitely think it'll be an exciting fight. And yeah, hopefully, we can see you go far in this tournament. And possibly if you win this and then come back to the United States, you can do the Coney Island contest and become not only Rizin Bantamweight Grand Prix champion, but 2022 Coney Island hot dog eating contest winner.
ということだって。
Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
ございました。
はい。じゃあ、ありがとう。Thank you.